Welcome back, ballers, to another episode on the Ball Don't Lie channel. This one is titled, I Ran So Far Away, OKCDC, Thunderstruck. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe and the share where you see fit. Let me get my screen up here and we'll dive right into it. Hey, Coffee Girl, good to see you, my friend. As always, you're the number one person I can always count on for tuning in. If I can just get a thumbs up just to make sure that you can hear me okay, I'd really appreciate that. I am going to preface this video by apologizing in advance as far as maybe a little unorganized this presentation may be. Thank you, Coffee Girl, appreciate it. But once again, just in the world that we live in, there's always so much more to talk about, so much more to discuss and share. It makes it challenging sometimes to put visuals and presentations together in a timely manner. So I'm going to do my best to present what I have readily available for you guys today. Hello, Stephen. Good to see you. Tammy says hurricanes are tied to the Thunderstruck, but I'm not good with the numerology of it. That's fair. I think that we're all students of this world that we live in. So we're always learning, you guys. So what I have to share today, like I said, the topic of today's presentation has to do with the latest news of the US and Iran, the NBA Finals, Oklahoma City winning their first championship, as well as how Donald Trump is involved with this, as he seems to be involved with everything else along the way. So without further ado, let's dive into it. I'm going to go full screen, so I won't have a chance to take a look at the comments during that time, but I'll make sure to reel it back in and check in with you guys. All right, so first and foremost, you guys, for those that have been following me for a while, even before my YouTube era, so to speak, I've beaten a dead horse at this point, big time, when it comes to the themes of love that I've been on all year. It really started this year, particularly. And I'll make it very clear right now that I did not put out an official future pick on the Thunder to win the NBA Finals, but the very first video and plenty more that came after on my YouTube channel has been all themed around love in many, many, many different ways. So just to add another example to the list of what I've been observing, just notice that the Oklahoma City Thunder literally have 4 hearts and the word love patched onto their jersey. And yet here we are, with a Game 7 win at home for Oklahoma City. And like we've been talking about for a while, this finals matchup clearly had something to do with the Oklahoma City bombing back in 1995. Hence why Timothy McConnell, showed face quite a bit in the finals. Timothy McVeigh, right? Not to mention, too, just the color symbolism, the blue and the orange. There's a lot to be said about that, but just think about how you have the blue and orange that just won the NBA Finals. You also have Florida in college basketball, who just won March Madness back in March, obviously. With the blue and the orange themes as well. Now you have the Panthers in the NHL, who just won the Stanley Cup. They do not have the blue and the orange colors, but that's another Florida connection, especially how it's related to Trump and the Mar-a-Lago raid and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to open here by saying that the love themes once again continue. And when I started thinking more about the love themes, the Oklahoma City bombing themes, it made me immediately think of the term love bombing. Have you guys ever heard of that? I'm sure most of you guys have. But it's essentially, I'm just going to read the definition. It's a tactic used in manipulative relationships where one person overwhelms another with excessive displays of affection. And obviously, I had to include an image here of Kevin Durant because even though he was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics, that organization turned into Oklahoma City. He went to the NBA Finals playing against LeBron James, alongside Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Point is that the same day as Game 7 of the NBA Finals, where the Thunder won the championship, news broke about Kevin Durant being traded to the Houston Rockets. And for those of you guys that don't know, at least in the basketball world, Kevin Durant does have a name for himself, not only for being a top player in the NBA, but he's also very well known for creating burner accounts and going after people in social media. So I feel like that kind of falls right in line with this whole love bombing connection. It's not that Kevin Durant just love bombs people, but you guys should be able to see how this kind of overlaps with each other. Like I mentioned, Oklahoma City currently is sponsored by Love's. They are from my understanding, a gas station brand. But once again, just look at the colors, you guys, and just think about the wordplay and the symbolism here. Thunder bomb. Thunder bomb. We were just talking about love bombs. Oklahoma City, sponsored by Love's. You guys follow? So Thunder bomb. We have the Oklahoma City bombing back in 1995. Timothy McConnell playing for Indiana, where Timothy McVeigh died in Indiana, right? And just notice the colors as well. I see a lot of red, I see a lot of white, I see a lot of blue, and I see a lot of orange. And yellow as well, which falls right in line with the Love's logo as well. So I'll share this with you guys. There's been on and off thunderstorms here in Austin, Texas, where I reside currently. And I sit on my last live stream with Rambo and Cody. I heard a crack of thunder like 2 weeks ago. That was the loudest boom I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it literally did sound like a bomb was going off. A tennis ball throw away from my house. So, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have experienced that in some way, shape, or form. But thunder can sound like a bomb, particularly when lightning strikes nearby. So think about how the OKC Thunder, they have lightning as their symbol, right? Thunder, bomb, love, bomb, OKC Thunder, OKC bombing, right? Pretty simple. Like I mentioned, the Thunder are sponsored by Love's. What are the odds that the words like terrorist, Taliban, and bomb Iran all equal 142, which is the date of Valentine's Day, right? I talked a lot about why 142 or any anagram of those numbers fall right in line with love themes because of Valentine's Day and how Arizona, the state, was founded on Valentine's Day, which matters because Timothy McConnell, TJ McConnell, went to Arizona. So did Benedict Mathurin, who both played for Indiana, who lost to the OKC Bomber, essentially. But Taliban, why does that matter? Well, with everything that happened with Tyrese Haliburton, these playoffs, how storybook, right, you guys? I mean, buzzer beater after buzzer beater. You know, the underdog blows through Cleveland, blows through Boston, blows through the Knicks to get to the finals, only for Tyrese Haliburton to go down with a Achilles injury with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter of Game 7. Talk about storybook, right? Talk about building people up, building the fans up to break them down when it matters most. But What we're focusing on right here is the numbers. Terrorist, 142. Taliban, 142. Bomb Iran, 142. And obviously, latest in the news, Trump has approved the bombing of certain sites in Iran, which is causing a lot of chaos, so to speak. For those of you guys that don't know, when Kevin Durant was with the Thunder, before he went off to go play for another, 20 teams, he was in a movie called Thunderstruck. And that movie released on Kobe Bryant Day. I think that's interesting with everything we've been talking about for years at this point. Don't forget, we are in the year of the snake. Kobe Bryant is known as the Black Mamba. He died in a helicopter crash, etc. And don't forget, too, that Reggie Miller, it's Miller time, all that stuff. He was born on this same day as well, August 24th. He is essentially the face of the Pacers, who just lost to the Thunder. But point being, the word bombing in reverse equals 127. And the date of the Oklahoma City bombing to the date of the release date of this movie, Thunderstruck, was exactly 127 days. This also reminds me of 9/11, right? Because buildings 1, 2, and 7 came crumbling down on 9/11. Next, I also just want to point out June 22nd, the date of Game 7 of this year's NBA Finals took place exactly 99 days before Kevin Durant's birthday. Why does that matter? Well, Thunder in the reverse cipher as well. A is 26, back to Z is 1. Thunder equals 99. But don't forget, too, like I said earlier, Game 7 took place the same day that Kevin Durant got shipped off or traded to the Houston Rockets. I don't think that that's a coincidence, you guys, that a big headline, a big trade takes place the date of Game 7, where the Oklahoma City Thunder win the NBA Finals, their first championship, where I would argue that Kevin Durant is still the biggest name in that organization since they moved from Seattle. Next, we're going to transition a little bit into Donald Trump and his connections to Iran. The image you guys see here on the left, I've been trying to verify or validate this image, but I found this on a Facebook post back in 2018. So I can't confidently stand here and say that this is a legit post from the New York Post. But if anybody in the comments can do some additional research and verify for me, I'd appreciate it. But if this is accurate, we're going back to the first term with Donald Trump, where they were already connecting him to Iran 7 years ago with the news article titled "Iran So Far Away." And there's some of the more obvious connections just with Donald Trump and his hair and all that kind of stuff, right? And with how crazy his hair can look at times, there have been connections with Donald Trump and Michael Score, who is the lead singer of A Flock of Seagulls. So how convenient, right? That right now with Trump coming back with the split term, now here he is going to war with Iran, essentially. And it makes me think about the song Iran, So Far Away by A Flock of Seagulls. I think most of you guys should be familiar with that song. I really got into it after playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto back in the day. Vice City, I think it was. Well, what are the odds, you guys, that Mike Score, the lead singer of A Flock of Seagulls, the one with the same hair that people like to compare to Donald Trump, what are the odds that his birthday is the same day as last year's presidential election, November 5th? Remember the 5th of November, right? Well, another thing to add to it, I was trying to add an image, but as Rambo and Cody have been talking about a lot on our live streams on Tuesdays, how this is once again connected to Back to the Future. And what are the odds? Look, like the very first image, if you guys just type in Mike Score birthday, you're going to see this picture of Mike Score standing right in front of a Back to the Future title. It obviously doesn't say Back to the Future, but it's clearly in the same font. And that matters because November 5th is a very important date in the Back to the Future series, especially the first one, from what I remember. So remember the 5th of November. November 5th, same birthday as the date of last year's election. And then we talked about how Mike Score, his hair, and the band, the name of the song, all falls right in line, just high level, not even gematria needed, connected to Donald Trump, who's now essentially going to war with Iran. So next, I just want to point out here, when we look at June 21st, that was the date U.S. time when these strikes took place. Granted, in Iran, it was already June 22nd. But when you measure from the date in the U.S. when this happened to November 5th, once again, the date of last year's election, also the same date as Michael Score's birthday, the lead singer with the crazy hair for Flock of Seagulls, who sang Iran. It's 137 days, you guys. For those that have been around a while, when you see 137, you see 33, because 137 is the 33rd prime number. Words like Washington, D.C. equals 137, simplest cipher. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. And when you use the rules of numerology and reduction, where you reduce every double-digit value to a single digit, add them up, Iran versus U.S., 33. And there's plenty more where that came from: secrecy 33, masonry 33, false flag 33, etc. And this 137 might look even more familiar to you because that's the same date that Donald Trump last year had that assassination attempt, right? On July 13th. Exactly 137 days before the anniversary of the JFK assassination, but that's besides the point. So I kind of got ahead of myself here. I just want to point out July 13th, that was the date of this ear piercing, if you will, with Donald Trump during his campaign last year. 137. So keeping it moving. When you measure from the assassination attempt, big one, because apparently there was a second assassination attempt, but the fact that the public aren't even talking about either of these really is just mind-blowing. But take a look at Game 7 back on June 22nd, dated back to the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And that's exactly 11 months and 9 days. OKC Thunder in the simplest cipher. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. OKC Thunder 119. And I just showed this image that people have created with Tyrese Haliburton's run in the NBA Finals. Or in the playoffs. He adapted the nickname Haliban. And they're showing, face-overs, if you will, with Osama bin Laden. And just so you guys know, Osama bin Laden equals 110. The Twin Towers stood at 110 stories tall. And guess what? Tyrese Haliburton's full name also equals 110. Don't forget that he hit that crazy three-pointer to push overtime in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, exactly 9,111 days after Reggie Miller advanced to the NBA Finals, beating the Knicks as well. So, speaking of Tyrese, Mr. Haliban, what are the odds that he went down with what would be a season-ending injury? It just so happened to go down in Game 7 in the NBA Finals, but he goes down with his injury exactly 114 days after his birthday, where the Oklahoma City bombing equals 114, and Indiana Pacers simplest cipher equals 114 as well. So it seems very fitting for him to go down with a crushing leg injury after essentially playing perfect basketball for months prior. Also, later in the news, this is something that broke a couple weeks ago at this point, but shout out to Cody. He talked a bit about the death of Brian Wilson, a founding member of the Beach Boys. Well, he died this year, reportedly on June 11th, 2025. The same date that Timothy McVeigh died, the Oklahoma City bomber, right? You guys might be asking, well, what does the Beach Boys have to do with this? Well, the Beach Boys had a song called Barbara Ran. Ba 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 Barbara Ran. Ba 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 Barbara Ran, right? So there's been a lot of jokes and memes and videos and stuff kind of playing off of that wordplay, so to speak, with Bomb I Ran. Barbara Ann. Barbara Ran. Bomb, 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 Ran, right? So you guys should be able to catch on to that. But just what are the odds? Brian Wilson died the same date that Timothy McVeigh died? Wow. There's also another song literally called Bomb I Ran. I don't know if you guys knew this. But it's by a singer by the name of Vince Vance. Are you guys serious? Seriously. Vince Vance, JD Vance, the VP to Donald Trump, who's bombing Iran right now. 1995. This song came out in 1995, you guys. Timothy McVeigh died in 2001. The bombing was in 1995. So, I haven't done enough research here to know more about this example other than just the wordplay. Bomb I Ran by Vince Vance. Cody had some interesting contributions talking about the word Vince, the name Vince, how it's related to Vince McMahon and all that kind of stuff when it comes to WWE. But just look at that, you guys. Bomb I Ran by Vince Vance. Now you have JD Vance, VP to Donald Trump, who's bombing Iran. This song came out in 1995, same year as the Oklahoma City bombing. No gematria needed there. This is just another screenshot to show you guys what I'm talking about. So this song, Bomb I Ran by Vince Vance, it's the name of several parodies of the Regents' 1961 song, Barbara Ann, originally written by Fred Fassert and popularized in a party cover version by the Beach Boys. And once again, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys just died the same date, 24 years later, as Timothy McVeigh, the Boston bomber, right? The most popular of the parodies was recorded by Vince Vance and the Valiants in 1980. Bomb I Ran gained a resurgence in notoriety in 2007 during John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign and gained popularity again during the 2025 U.S. strikes on Iran nuclear sites. So keeping it moving. Next, we're going to talk about number 666. And this is something that I shared in my Discord and the Patreon. It wasn't an official pick, but I just pointed out to folks. I said, look, with the loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which equals 151, 151 is the 36th triangular number, prime number. The Pacers stayed on 666 all-time wins versus the Western Conference going into Game 7 of the NBA Finals this year. And just think about how 666 being the 36th triangular number, meaning 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, all the way up to 36, you will get to 666 on the nose. That's what a triangular number is. But also think about just the number 36, 3 sixes, 666, 3 sixes, right? So words like I ran so far away, like the song from A Flock of Seagulls, 151. When you run it in reverse, OKC Thunder, well, 151. Well, what does that matter? Well, thunder in the Pythagorean ciphers of the base English gematria, 36. Thunder 36, front and back. So perfect date for Indiana to stay on that 666, losing to the Thunder, which equals 36. 666, the 36 triangular. We're going to reel it back to love, you guys. Dallas has been in the news all year long. Just think about the trade of Luka Doncic. Think about Cooper Flagg essentially being drafted to the Dallas Mavericks, or Dallas getting the number 1 overall pick after trading arguably the best player in the league. I've talked about this 100 times. Think about how Dallas is home of Dallas Love Field. You know what I mean? Well, to take it one step further, shout out to my wife. I mentioned this on the live stream last night with Rambo and Cody. I'm watching a new Netflix docuseries called America's Sweethearts. And for as much of a sports fan as I am, I haven't really taken the time to look deeper into the world of cheerleading and whatnot. So in doing that, America's Sweethearts, that was the first thing I learned, is that is what the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are called. Sweethearts, right? And with that, just as a recap, don't forget that Cooper DeJean had that pick 6 back on February 9th on his birthday, his 22nd birthday, where Eagles equals 22. But Cooper had the pick 6 right before halftime, playing for the city of brotherly love. Now you have Cooper Flagg, Philadelphia, home of the flag. But now you have Cooper Flagg expected to go to Dallas, home of Love Field, right? So getting back to the Netflix docuseries called America's Sweethearts, this was a mic drop for me. I had no idea that one of the biggest routines that the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders prepare for every year is a routine centered around the song Thunderstruck by ACDC. Wow. I just found this image here, OKCDC. That's kind of why I titled it what I did. But just think about that. Thunderstruck, the bread and butter, if you will, for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and then everything we've been talking about with Dallas this year. Just mind-blowing. So this image up here on the top, that's kind of the big mic drop for this routine, where they literally do these high kicks, looking up in the air, high kicks, and then they all hold each other the whole time. And then at the very end, they essentially crunch stop and land with a perfect splits. But it's a big deal. It's a big deal in this world of sports and entertainment and performance. So once again, just think about Cooper Flagg, Cooper DeJean, City of Brotherly Love, Dallas Love Field, Thunderstruck. It's a perfect web we're living in, you guys. So I just had another image here just to really emphasize Dallas Love Field, the heart, loves, sponsoring OKC, the OKC bombing, ACDC, Thunderstruck, Cowboys, right? Next, going into a little more gematria-related stuff, the song Thunderstruck released on September 10th, the day before the anniversary of 9/11. But what are the odds that Game 7 was held exactly 11 weeks and 4 days before the release anniversary date of this song, Thunderstruck, 11-4. We were talking about that earlier. Indiana Pacers, 114. The Oklahoma City Bottom, 114. This was just an image I wanted to share just to further connect. Well, why is this a Timothy McVeigh ritual? Well, he is the Oklahoma City Bomber. He died in Indiana. That's all you need to know. I thought this was a funny image to close it out. Iran so far away. Donald Trump bombing Iran, etc. I really hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. I have officially zoomed out of full share. So I'm just looking back in the comments here. Shout out to wifey Samantha. My wife's name is Samantha. So very fitting, Samantha, for you to shout out my wife on that. Yeah, she's the best. She's the reason I keep going. Coffee girl with a mind blown emoji. Dirty Burrito, what's up? Gloria, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. But I will leave it there, you guys. You know, I try to make these presentations short and sweet without dragging it on too long. Once again, please make sure to hit the like and the subscribe and the share where you see fit. I feel that the majority of this presentation didn't really even touch on a ton of numbers, did a little bit, but it shows how words, symbolism, colors, etc., really intertwine. And when you start there, the numbers always follow. So I will end it there. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. For those that have contributed into the chat, it means a lot. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next time. Make sure to take care of yourselves.